guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be second fixing the bathroom that we previously first fixed in another video. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link at the end of this video. You can click on, it will take you straight there. So it's going to be black themed, this one, and the builder's done a really nice job, so looking forward to getting it in. Okay, so as you can see, it's all been decorated now and the builder's left protective flooring over the tiles, which is great. So we've got a close couple toilet, followed by the Vanity unit. Then we've got a towel radiator going on the left under the window. On the right hand side is where the freestanding bath is going. And then the builder has built this beautiful shower cubicle with storage on the right for the shower and shower head. So one thing I always get anxiety about before I come to second fix is the depth of the shower valve. So I've had it once or twice before where I've installed them and they've been slightly too short, and since then it always panics me. So even though I measure meticulously on first fix, it's always on my mind when I turn up to second fix. So I've just checked this one, it is okay. So what we'll do is, and what I always normally do is I'll start on the shower first and I'll work my way towards the door, and yeah, we'll start getting some bits in. Okay, so the first thing I always start with is getting the shower valve on. So first thing you want to do is get your shrouds on, and then you can tell if you've buggered it up at first fix stage or the tiler's added larger tiles or they've double boarded it. So this one is a little bit recessed, but that's fine. So as you can see, as long as you've got enough of that spigot sticking out, you'll be fine. But once you start winding it in and it starts recessing in that hole, you know you've got trouble. So yeah, it's all looking good. So this shroud couldn't come off originally, or we left it on for whatever reason. So I'm just going to clean that up, get the other shroud on, and then what I always do is I'll dry fit the plate first, and then once I'm happy with it, it's all level, I'll put a silicone bead around this envelope opening here and get it mounted on the wall. Okay, so straight off the bat, we've got a bit of an issue. So on the back of this shower plate, we've got this raised circle which goes around the shroud, and the problem is the tiler, James, he hasn't left us enough space for that shroud to squeeze in here on the right. So what I'm going to do, it looks okay on the left, so what I'm going to do now is I'll just get the grinder out and I'll just cut that slightly wider all the way down, and then that will be fine. Okay, so it's always a good idea to keep a tiled diamond blade on your grinder or in your van, just for situations like this. So this is just like a £10 cheap one from Tool Station. So all I've done is I've just cut another thin line down and tapped it out. Right, so I'm happy now. The plate's sitting all flush against the tiled wall, and I've just put a silicone bead around that letterbox opening, and now I can push the plate back. So sometimes it doesn't matter how meticulous you are on your first fix, that shower plate just won't sit level. So what I've done is I've just used a bit of plastic pipe just to create a bit of tension from the plate and the wall, and then I'll just leave that there while the silicone's drying just to keep it nice and level. Right, so cap's out. Don't worry too much if you get a little bit of water. As long as you've got the water turned off, it will just be the pressure that's built up when you were first fixing it. So what you need to do first is just dry fit it. So whenever you get these shower heads, you'll get a length of thread on the end like that, which obviously won't necessarily be the right size. So it also depends how you fit this on the shroud. So sometimes the shrouds sit up flush, like this one here, it just pushes up. So you need to make sure that it tightens up nice on the thread and compresses that against the wall. Or sometimes you just slide the shroud on afterwards. So this one needs to compress. So if I wind that in, if I can do it with one hand. There you go. So I just need to check that that thread isn't too long, which it more than likely is. So that's as far as it's going. And just need to check if I've got any movement on here. So there's still quite a bit of movement on that. So I'll cut off one run off the thread on the shower head, and then I can get it PTFE or Loctited up and get that in position. Okay, so I've got the thread all cut down now, and I've just applied some Loctite and some jet blue. So we'll get that wound in now. There was slight adjustment actually on the thread on these Allen key or grub screws here, but they just rounded straight off, which is great. So anyway, we get that wound in, get that nice and tight, and then I can put the actual shower head on. Right, just screwed on the shower head now, which is pretty self-explanatory, just winds onto that arm. So one tip I would give you, if you don't have the shower head on site when you're first fixing, is to make sure that you set your arm just slightly higher or just slightly above level, because the weight of these can sometimes pull them down. So I've just put a level across that, it's absolutely fine. So yeah, all good, we can move on to the bath taps. Right, onto the bath tap. So some of you might have seen my short that I posted a little while ago. So this is that same set of taps, and you can now see the benefit of using that rad extension. So really simple to get out. I just use a pair of grips, just pull it straight out. No worries then. And yeah, let's start getting these components together. Okay, so first thing I'm doing is where the grout hasn't quite sealed up the holes, I'm just putting a bead of silicone around it, just because I know there's a young family here, and if their kids are anything like mine, the downstairs will be flooded within a couple of days and the whole bathroom will be ruined. So I'm just going to get any holes that are open to the void just sealed up, and then I'll push it back just like this one. So you can see here, my maximum and minimum is right on the edge of maximum. So pretty lucky, I think, to get away with that one, and that would have been a nightmare being that it's 3 single outlets, but it is just about okay. So it actually looks like I've planned it to be super flush. Okay, so I've got one of the tap heads on now, and they are literally the same as any normal standard basin tap. You've got a screw in the centre there that pushes onto this brass spline, and then once it's in position, you can just tighten up the screw and put the black cap on. So you can see on this basin arm it's slightly different than the shower head. So the shroud itself actually has a rubber in it, and you can slide it back and forth. It's got a smaller thread on it, so part of this body, or the shank of this basin outlet, will actually be in the wall. So we need to get this shroud pushed right back, PTFE and jet glue this, wind it in position, and then this shroud will literally just push back and cover up the hole. Okay, so the bath taps are all in now, and the spout is all nice and level, so I think it looks really nice in black against these white tiles. The bath black waste isn't here, unfortunately, so we're going to move away from the bath now and jump onto the towel rail. Right, this is a towel radiator we're going to be fitting, and I've already drained down the central heating, so I've just removed the 2 caps from those pipes. So we're about to find out whether or not I first fixed it correctly. So bringing the pipes through the floor with towel radiators can be quite difficult because you don't know the exact depth of the wall. So what I'm about to do is just glue the tails for the radiator valves, so they're black as well. So what I don't really want is like messy Loctite or jet glue around the bottom, so I'm actually just going to glue them. We use the blue glue stuff from Screwfix, which is that, it's like liquid PTFE, so works really well, a lot cheaper than a Loctite version. You just got to make sure you wipe it off because it does dry glue. Okay, so I've got my radiator valves on now, and I'm just setting up my brackets. So I'm moving the brackets all the way over to the end so the customer can slide a towel down more easily. So what you want to do is you want to select what runs you want your brackets on, and then you want to measure your centres between the two. So I normally take a measurement from where the pipe enters the valve down to my first run, and then measure from there down to my second run, and then on the wall I'll just draw a square with 4 X's on where I need to drill it. So I've got the brackets on over here, it should look something like that, and then it's just a case of getting the radiator sort of slid into position, and then I can feed the pipes in. So the only difficult thing is these pipes are rigid, so I just need to be a bit careful with that. Okay, so I've got the towel rail finally mounted. I must admit it was a right pain in the ass because these brackets, they are not very good. You have to like tighten these bits up onto it, but as they crimp they want to twist. So yeah, just not great for fixing, but I've got it on there now. While I was struggling on with that, Bailey's turned up and he's smashed out the Vanity sink unit. So in there we've got the work wind trap, the Neos I believe they're called. We use those quite a lot. So yeah, it looks quite lovely actually, that. And then back to wall toilet, so FlexiPan connector on that, and then actually use a flexible hose for the cold main. So yeah, bathroom's going quite well. So the only issue is return of water on, and these inserts are letting by on the new taps. So I've tried replacing the inserts with a different manufacturer, but they're slightly different in length, and they wasn't working, so the water was still coming out. So I'll let the client know they can speak to the manufacturer, but it's just a bit annoying that we can't finish that part of the job. So other than that, bathroom's all looking good. We've got to do the waste pipes outside now, which go into the soil stack, because at the moment they're just terminating or poking through the wall externally. And I've got to cut a hole in the ceiling for the shower waste. Okay, so we move over now back to the chapel job, and I'm just catching up with Bailey, just seeing how he's getting on. So he's making good progress getting the pipe work in between the cylinders, and it looks really neat. So he's really thought about how he's going to connect them up and where all the valves and zone valves are going to be located. So he's just getting all the prep work done. So we've got a multifunctional valve up here on the left, then we're teeing off to go up to the expansion vessel, then we've got a U-bend going back down, and then that's going to be our cold supply to our cylinders and also our balance cold. You can see here he's pulled another U-bend on the hot water returns, and that's going to be pumping from here, so it looks pretty epic, that does up there. And then up here I think it's been quite clever, we've got our 2 zone valves in between the cylinders, so obviously that's going to be supplying the flow around the coil, and then we've got 2 levers here for the return, and then also 2 for the cold feed into them. So yeah, making good progress. Definitely see that he's planned it out and thought about how he's going to be installing it all. So what I'm going to be doing is going to leave him here now for a couple of days, let him continue getting this all finished, and then I will come back with him and we'll install the oil boiler. So making good progress on this one. To all you haters with the insulation, we've got 9mm lagging going on these tight pipes here, so we've done it plenty of times. So yeah, don't you worry about that, it's all good. So the underfloor heating stuff's just turned up, so I'll just run you through what we're going to be doing with that.
Because it's probably a wide lens, isn't it?
Plenty of room there. Okay, so the underfloor heating's all arrived on site here, and we're going to be installing this all on Monday once the Celotex is down. So I'll just show you some of the components that it's having. Got Heat Miser Neo, they're wired stats, and then for the bathrooms, because you can't have the stat inside, got these sensors, and then the stats wired on the outside of the room. I get this all from a company called Robin, so they always send you like couplings if you make any mistakes. So we've got 2 big large coils, we've got the manifold which is well protected inside this box here, we've got a split conduit to separate the flows from in each of the rooms, and then we've got loads and loads of staples. So that's how we're going to be installing it. We're going to be using a staple gun, they'll just load up and we'll staple them in nice and easy. So yeah, looking forward to making a good start on that on Monday and hopefully get it all done in one day.